No problem on the right front. He's had to go for another wheel nut.
Oh!
Mexico again, and Czech Republic and Lebanon off as well. Lebanon just managed to avoid them. He should be able to rejoin.
And I don't know what the Lebanon were doing there. He was not involved at all in that incident. It was between two other cars, and suddenly Lebanon just finds itself adding a show that was two cars to make it three, and luckily there shouldn't be any injury, certainly.
A slower stop than planned for Brazil. This could give Great Britain a chance of taking second place on the pit stops once Perrent has made his drive-through penalty. France will be leading this race, and Robbie Kerr will be second for Great Britain, but he's got his pit stop to do still. We saw a problem for Brazil, and that means Piquet's going to have his work cut out here this afternoon.
Navarro peels off. He's now going to drive. He's not going to drive. He is both. And France were going to come in and make a pit stop, and the French team said, no, stay out, stay out. You've got the advantage. Now you've got clear air. You can pull away your tyres. Your car's in good shape. Use that to advantage. And when we feel it's time to come in, then we will give you instruction.
So Perrent, as you told us, John, not allowed to change his wheels, but behind him, Switzerland is coming in for a scheduled stop.
And that may have been part of the reason, because the Swiss team and the French team worked virtually garage to garage, so it would not have been in the interest of either to have both cars, both nations changing tyres at the same time.
So Portugal rejoins, having done their drive-through penalty, and coming out ahead there on, let's just see, is that Pakistan? Yes, the Pakistan car in 8th place, but the safety car is going to be coming out on circuit. So this is going to bunch everyone up, and of course, with some pit stops to be made, this could work well for some teams that haven't made their pit stop yet. If the teams are quick to call a pit stop, get them in early, then they'll be in good shape.
They'll have to do a complete lap before we can release the safety car.
There's the Russian driver, Roman Rusinov, out of his car as well, so that's another retirement, I'm afraid, from this one. So out of the race, we've lost Russia, Mexico, Germany, Italy and South Africa in these relatively early stages still of the feature race from Eastern Creek Raceway. The Japanese car and the Lebanese car that are behind safety car, they're actually running, let's see, down in 19th place for Japan, and Lebanon actually being shown as race leader now because they have not made their pit stop. So Lebanon leads this race. It's only one car, John, that's going to have to be waved through.
Yes, so the first car to make a stop was Ireland. They are in fact in 7th place. They didn't quite make it to the top of the field, and it is in fact Lebanon, which is probably the only car, or one of the very few cars yet that has yet to make it stop. So for a brief moment, we've got Lebanon leading here in Eastern Creek.
Let's see how, he stalled it. The Chinese driver stalled the engine, and they weren't ready. See, no, some of the other teams have been sort of prepared, pushing the car or bump starting it. They weren't quite ready to get him going there. So, being waved past is the Japanese car, and now we've picked up the race leader. That's right, it's Lebanon, because they are the only car that's still running in this race that's not made its pit stop.
Ben, when the safety car goes in, there will be a charge like you have never seen, because Lebanon for the first time is in the lead of an A1 Grand Prix race. This is the feature race. All the pit stops have probably taken place with the exception of Lebanon, maybe one or two others at the tail. Their Lebanese team absolutely delighted, but what's going to happen when the safety car goes back into the pit lane? You've got race or potential race winner directly behind, and I mean it's just going to be a very exciting start into turn one, but probably more likely into turn two. It just depends how much Basil Shaban in Lebanon car decides to be feisty and defend his lead.
Flags are waving already for Basil Shaban. He's leading a round of A1 Grand Prix. I tell you what, this is also going to give Great Britain, Switzerland, Netherlands real hope, because France, of course, could have a problem getting past Lebanon once the race restarts, and those guys who are behind could be in with a shout of gaining some places here. Look at that, Lebanon P1. That's something that they weren't expecting to see.
And of course for Basil Shaban, this is new territory. He's never been in a situation, never had to deal with the pressure, and of course he knows behind him is effectively the race leader, and he's also got pressure coming from Team GBR, and Switzerland, Netherlands, Malaysia, Ireland, Australia, Portugal, New Zealand round out the top 10.
Let's just remind you that the Lebanese team principal Taman Ouchi, it's the first time that there's been an Arab-owned single-seater international racing team. P1 goes out to their driver, and Basil Shaban, the 25-year-old from Beirut, who has done a bit of karting. He's raced in America and raced in Formula Ford in the UK. Much less experienced than many of the drivers out there, but this is what A1 Grand Prix is about, giving these guys and these countries an opportunity to race in evenly matched cars, all identical cars, and it's up to their teams and the drivers to extract the best. Now, he does have to do his pit stop. When he's going to do that, we don't know, but for the moment, he's leading this race.
He doesn't have to do it until the 39th lap if he so chooses. Big loser, of course, in all that was Team Brazil with Nelson Piquet Jr. They had a problem on their right-hand front. He's done in 12th place.
Japan still trying to catch up the train, and that's why the safety car's still out there, waiting for Hayanari Shimoda to catch up to the back of the group as they make their way around. But yes, John, that Brazilian drop to 12th place, that pit stop really was an utter disaster for them.
Yes, and Shimoda's only got now, well, just under a quarter of the circuit to behind the snake of cars under the safety car, so he'll make that up. Basically, by the time they get round to turn 12, he will be right up on the tail. Here's a replay of what took Mexico much quicker than Russia. Took the dive down the inside, wasn't really far enough up to take the corner. Russia began to turn in, probably actually began to turn away slightly, but Mexico was so committed. And then we just see the 11 car just diving. How it avoided the right rear.